Good evening and welcome to the news at 6. I am Chimoke Michaels. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has accused the federal government of deliberately stifling and killing public universities in Nigeria to promote private ones allegedly owned by the political class. The group also alleged the federal government has been calculatingly dribbling the union since 2017 in genuinely finding solution to ASU federal government impasse in order to end the strike for students to go back to school. ASU accused the federal government of being only interested in campaigning for the 2023 general election than the welfare and future of the Nigerian youth. The chairman and secretary of ASU, Chukwuemeka Odumegu Ojukwu University, COOU, Anambra State, Comrade Oke Aniebo and Comrade David Enibe, disclosed this in a statement jointly signed after their meeting in Igbariam, Anambra East local government area of the state. The statement said it was unfortunate that the federal government has been adopting lies, blackmail, deceit, and delay tactics to continue to renege on the 2009 ASU federal government agreement, stating that the federal government is calculatingly dribbling ASU since 2017 in finding solution to ASU and federal government face-off. The American Society of Civil Engineers, Nigeria section, has advocated the need for national building codes to be strictly enforced by the government and its agencies in order to build a better environment for the next generation of engineers. ASCE says only when stakeholders in the building environment begin to enforce standard in building and construction industry that the persistent failures in the construction industry would be phased out. The governor of the ASCE Nigeria section, Region 10, Engineer Saliu Lawal and Engineer Kunle Adebajo, while speaking in Lagos at the ASCE Vision 2025 conference, explained that individual needs to engage professionals in every stage of construction, especially contract procurement, design, and construction to avert errors of wrong foundation.
Is the major challenge it's one of the major challenges of civil engineering profession. If I call it the major, but one of the major challenges. What is quackery? You are not an engineer. You put yourself forward as an engineer. You try to do the work of engineers. When there are mistakes, the person will run away. People will die. They will start calling engineers. So and it is important that we educate our people, always consult and make use of services of professionals.
One of the problems in the built environment right now is that we are all straying into areas that we shouldn't. And when you do that, you find that it starts to become mediocrity as against being able to be good at your own specialization. And I bring up the issue of form work and false work. As far as I'm concerned, that in itself is such an important aspect of the construction process.
ASCE President Engineer Rashid Hassan, who warned against involvement of quacks in projects, stated that the theme of the conference, Civil Engineering and the Future of the Building Environment, Opportunities and Challenges, has captured the essence of creating an environment for the new generation to build on, to put an end to the harrowing tragedy of building collapse. The president-elect of ASCE, Engineer Austin Odibi, said every discerning mind must lend their voice to the advocacy on kicking out the quacks. He said the quacks are the cause of building and infrastructure collapse in Nigeria, as he advised young engineers to revolutionize the nation's engineering landscape through their hard work. The ASCE Nigeria Section Vision 2025 conference also had a panel discussion where various topical issues were examined thoroughly.
As we go into the future, mega city, floating city, and the green, environment, how this baggage of collapse will not be carried into the future. So those are the things we are looking at and prepare ourselves better to design better, to build better, and operate better, so that we can move away from the issue of collapse and face future squarely, you know, where we build and there will be safe environment for everyone during and after construction.
We have a lot of quacks who come in to build. They cut corners. They use substandard materials. Workmanship is very poor supervision, poor planning, you know. And when you put all that collectively, what do you have? You have failure. So you design not to withstand the usage, but you design to fail. You understand? So it's very important that the government too, who are the regulators at the level, you know, at the state level, we have the current at the federal level. It's important that they all sanction discipline. You understand? They all sanction them.
Ahead of the 2023 general elections, Christians are admonished to participate actively to change the current narrative in the political system and bring about the needed positive change in the country. The parish priest of St. Leo's Catholic Church, Right Reverend John Anyegu, who gave the advice in Lagos while speaking with newsmen to herald the church's 50th anniversary, said for mediocrities not to completely take over Nigerian political space, God-fearing people should come forth to take the driver's seat. The clergy, who was represented by the associate parish priest, Reverend Father Emmanuel Omoroke, noted that prayers remain one of the solutions to the all societal vices in the country. The clergyman urged Nigerians to wisely use their permanent voters card, which is their power to right the wrong and choose credible leaders during the forthcoming polls. In his remark, a member of the church, Taiwo Bileye, encouraged Nigerians, especially the Christians, to take active part in politics.
Yes, we ask Christians to join politics, to take part, to do out there. People should go out there, get their PPC, vote, and Christians should be involved in Nigeria politics. And then let us go there as Christians, take our rights, do our best, and make sure we make that the right person gets there.
If we have Christians who are leading Christian lives within the situation of the politics, then they would be able to, by their Christian examples, change. So that's what we want, that Christians be part of the political agenda situation and still be Christians, not that they be dough to change the flour, make it better to good bread, not join the crowd when they get there. Let their Christian.
A coalition of youth groups in Ikeja Federal Constituency on Saturday trooped out en masse to give their solidarity support to the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as they embarked on a walk from Ikeja to Omole. The youth also pledged their unalloyed support to the candidacy of Honorable James Abiodun Faleke, a member of the Federal House of Representatives, Ikeja Federal Constituency. The 100,000 youth walk within Ikeja and its environs was not only orderly but also attracted the unexpected mammoth crowd who willingly declared their support for the duo. The group emphasized that the walk was to showcase the leaders whom they say have impacted the lives of youth greatly.
Is for us to be actively involved in whatever we do in our environment, socially, religiously, and mentally. Either we like it or not, the saying that says the youth of today are leaders of tomorrow. For me, I don't see it that way. And that's why for decades, I have been part of the electoral process. So if we are actually getting set and ready to take the bull by the horn, elections are not won on social media. It is your active involvement that determines what comes out of it.
This is just a solidarity work for Asiwaju, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and Honorable James Faleke, who are our leaders. So as the campaign kicks off in September, we have many beautiful programs that will attract young people. Our target is young people, even beyond Ikeja Federal Constituency.
Meanwhile, a political group, Think Tinubu Movement, TTM, championing the success of the All Progressives Congress APC presidential candidate Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has vowed to do everything within its reach to ensure his success in the 2023 presidential election. Addressing the press in Lagos, TTM Director Segun Afolorunkan said the group is rallying support for Tinubu because it believes in his ability to turn the country around and make it better. He said the organization is spread across 774 local government areas of the country, with coordinators in the 6 geopolitical zones, 36 states, and Abuja. The group, which said it has chapters in 25 states of the Federation, said it's poised to intensify sensitization and mobilization of indigent voters who truly apply for progressive movement.
Tinubu Movement, as a support group of Asiwaju Tinubu campaign organization, is poised to intensify rigorous campaign and mobilization of indigent voters who truly stand as a progressives. Those include millions of youths, women, men, and the elderly. In fact, every spectrum of Nigerian masses.
It's a platform, to engage Nigerian youth as well as to make Nigerian youth relevant in the scheme of things politically. So we are going to assemble ourselves, come October to.
When we are on the field, we go down to down campaign, door to door campaign. So we're not banking on just social media. We're talking of physical youth. We have the youth of God. We know where to.
The Ikotu-Igodo Local Council Development Area has implored market women and men to always take cleaning during the weekly environmental sanitation very seriously so as to guard against all forms of environmental diseases. The LCDA chairman, Akinsanya Lasisi, who disclosed this, said the LCDA has continued to rehabilitate roads within the council as well as cleaning up blockage, drainage, and gutters. The chairman said while monitoring the weekly environmental sanitation in Igodo Market, explained that environmental sanitation at the marketplaces across the state has recorded more than 80% compliance among the traders. He noted that once the market is clean, there will not be room for any epidemic to surface, and there would be guarantee for the traders and their customers.
There has been this road there, which people have been clamoring for assistance from the government, but it was not gotten. We went to Ali Momodu Street, and we, reconstructed the road with a paving stone, and the road has been completed now, and people are happy for it.
I'm always advise my people to do this environmental sanitation every day. That's what I'm trying to tell you there.
A former director, National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, Eddie Aino, says agitations for self-determination, inequality, alignment of some religious sects with foreign terrorist groups are some of the factors contributing to insecurity, hence the need for the establishment of state police, as well as the urgent rejigging of the nation's security apparatus, among others, to tame the trend. Speaking on security, Panacea to a sustainable national growth and development in Abeokuta, Ogun State, Aino said food security, economic security, social security are forms of security meant to be provided by the government for any society. In his remarks, the Ogun State Commissioner for Agriculture, Dr. Adeola Odedino, said youth engagement through agriculture has been a focal point of the Dapo Abiodun-led administration. The national president, Ma Poly Alumni Association, called for the continuous support of the institution with a call to all alma mater to always give back to their roots.
establishment of state police. This insecurity we are talking about, if we don't allow state police, we are not going anywhere. In the whole federal system, all over the world, Nigeria is the only country without a state policing system. Now, the need to set up multi-level security, cells. Then, finally, impunity, injustice, nepotism, mismanagement of the nation's diversity, and the weaponization of social media drive conflicts, breed insecurity and economic disaster. This must be reduced to the barest minimum.
The governor came in, 150,000 young people signified their intention to make a living through agriculture. And if you know, Mapoli is everywhere. Anywhere you go, you see Mapoli students. So, His Excellency also approved that we have a site in Mapoli for Anchor Borough program. So, we are carrying along youth in the state for meaningful and gainful employment. And that's why the governor said Mapoli cannot be ignored.
The newly elected executive of the Ohaneze Ndigbo in Lagos State, led by Sunday Osai, says the tenure of its former president, Chief Solomon Ogbonna, expired in June. The secretary in Ndieze, Lagos, Eze Anyamele, who disclosed this while speaking in Lagos, noted that the group have brought in new blood to champion its cause. Anyamele, who was speaking on the backdrop of controversy surrounding formation of another group in Lagos State, the Ohaneze Political Forum, led by Ogbonna, the erstwhile leader of the Ohaneze Ndigbo in the state, whose tenure expired in June, said it's unconstitutional and in total disregard and breach of Ohaneze National Constitution and Lagos Chapter bylaws.
An election has been conducted by Ohaneze Ndigbo Lagos on the 15th of June 2022, which brought in a new executive led by Chief Sunday Osai, Stainless, from Enugu State. The election was based on the electoral guidelines and stipulated by Ohaneze Worldwide Constitution and Lagos Chapter bylaws on a 4-year single term and no renewable or tenure elongation. There is nothing like Ohaneze political group anywhere in Nigeria or abroad.
You're still watching the news at 6. Up next, the stories from the foreign scene. After this break. Thanks for still being there. At least 2 people have been killed after clashes erupted between rival Libyan militias in the center of Tripoli, with the sound of gunfire echoing through the heavily populated part of the capital city, threatening 2 years of relative peace. The violence early on Saturday comes in the wake of a build-up of rival forces in Tripoli over the past week, who are jostling for power as the North African country remains divided between rival administrations in the east and the west. The country's democratic transition was delayed after the presidential elections scheduled for last December were postponed indefinitely. Tensions have risen after Fatih Bashaga, backed by the East-based parliament, was sworn in as prime minister in February, amid calls for Prime Minister Abdul Hamid Dibeiba, the head of the transitional government based in Tripoli, to cede power. The United Nations had voiced concern after the Tobruk-based parliament voted to install Bashaga as prime minister. Six of the 43 students disappeared in 2014 were allegedly kept alive in a warehouse for days, then turned over to the local army commander who ordered them killed, the Mexican government official leading a truth commission said on Friday. Interior Undersecretary Alejandro Encinas made the shocking revelation directly, tying the military to one of Mexico's worst human rights scandals, and it came with little fanfare as he made a lengthy defense of the commission's report released a week earlier. President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador established the Truth Commission after he was elected to office in 2018. Last week, despite declaring the abductions and disappearances a state crime and saying that the army watched it happen without intervening, Encinas made no mention of 6 students being turned over to Colonel Jose Rodriguez Perez. The Pakistan government has declared devastating floods a national emergency after nearly 1,000 people died and more than 30 million are without shelter as monsoon rains continue to lash the South Asian nation. At least 937 people have died since mid-June, including 343 children, according to the National Disaster Management Authority, which large swaths of the southwestern province of Balochistan remaining submerged, bringing back the memory of the devastating 2010 floods. More than half of the casualties are from Balochistan and southern Sindh province, where 234 and 306 people died respectively amid record rains that have affected 500,000 houses across the country. Fida Hussain Shahani, a laborer from a remote village in Sindh, is grieving for his son, who was swept away by the deluge. The British Defense Ministry said Ukraine will receive a total of 6 mine-hunting drones from the UK in order to detect explosive threats underwater. President Volodymyr Zelensky said Ukraine has exported 1 million tons of agricultural products from its Black Sea ports under the terms of a grain deal brokered by Turkey and the United Nations. Meanwhile, Russian forces fired missiles and artillery on Ukraine-held areas across the river from Europe's largest nuclear power plant, authorities said, as concern persisted about safety at the Russian-controlled plant after it was temporarily knocked offline. Grad missiles and artillery shells hit the cities of Nikopol and Mahanets, each about 10 kilometers and across the Dnieper River from the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, said Valentin Resnetchenko, governor of Ukraine's Dnipropetrovsk region. Russian forces occupied the nuclear plant complex early in the war in Ukraine, and Ukrainian workers have kept it running. Each side has repeatedly accused the other of shelling the complex, raising fears that the fighting could trigger a catastrophe. Up next are sports stories after this break. Welcome back. Liverpool were the biggest winners on Saturday afternoon with a 9-0 annihilation of AFC Bournemouth at Anfield, their widest winning margin in the league. A brace from Luis Diaz and Roberto Firmino, then a goal each from Alexander Arnold, Virgil van Dijk, Harvey Elliott and Fabio Cavallo, plus an own goal from Chris Mentham, collected the dribbling. Erling Haaland scooped his first hat-trick for Manchester City during their 4-2 throbbing of Crystal Palace. Chelsea, on the other hand, survived a first-half scare when youngster Conor Gallagher picked up 2 yellow cards and was consequently shown the red in the 28th minute to go ahead and defeat the Foxes from Leicester by 2-1. Manchester United made it 2 consecutive victories as Bruno Fernandes broke the deadlock 10 minutes after the break with a precise side-footed volley to give United the 3 points they needed so desperately. Man United had 56% of the possession with 6 shots on target. In the other games, Brighton piped Leeds United 1-0, with Brentford and Everton settling for a 1-1 draw. Roger Federer has not played competitive tennis in more than a year, and like his legion of fans, Rafa Nadal also cannot wait for the Swiss great to return to action next month. Federer has not featured since Wimbledon last year after he had another operation on his knee, which has bothered the 41-year-old in the twilight of his sparkling career. The 20-time Grand Slam singles champion is expected to return to the tour in September when he teams up with longtime rival and friend Nadal to play doubles at the Laver Cup in London before playing at the Swiss indoors tournament at home in Basel the following month. Nadal, the winner of a men's record 22 Grand Slam titles, told reporters ahead of the US Open that he was super excited to see Roger again on court. Federer has undergone 3 knee operations in the last 2 years and has not played a competitive match since his quarterfinal defeat to Hubert Hurkacz at the 2021 Wimbledon. But despite not playing for nearly 14 months, the Swiss has retained his place at the top of the list of the world's highest paid tennis players for a 17th year, underlining his popularity in the sport. And that's it on the news at 6. Join us again at 9:30 p.m. for the primetime news. Till then, I am Jumoke Michaels.
Rise and praise God.